plus build moments. Like we already kind of discussed how potentially either she's gonna rent her own place, go live at her home, or options. I mean, there's options. I already kind of like made it clear, like, hey, the plan is to, you know,
Yeah,
plan.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
see
just
what's up.
remember you kind of mentioning it.
All right. How do we sound? How do we sound? How do we sound?
But yeah, we'll see what's up. Some fruit for thought.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. A lot of things coming up.
That sounds fine.
A lot of thinking.
Yeah, I think we sound good.
We sound good this time?
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna actively try and fight that habit
Of not talking into the mic.
of putting my mic down, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you usually go like
43
Yeah.
episodes later. 43 episodes later. Isn't that crazy?
Just a little
All right, buddy.
detail.
Let's relax a little bit.
I'm excited.
For what?
The Confessions Podcast, the number one podcast in the world. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Subscribe already.
Drop a like.
Why aren't you subscribed already?
Yeah.
If you're watching
We've been growing pretty steadily the past few.
steadily growing.
Slowly but surely building a bomb.
Building. And
You gotta find a cool acronym for it, bro.
what?
Bomb?
The bomb, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, before you got here, I was building a bomb.
You were building a bomb?
Yeah, the Detail 806 bomb. And then I put B period O period M period B period. But I
Like
don't
if it stood for something.
yeah,
but-
like if it stood for something, but it hasn't
Oh.
stood. Yeah, I don't have anything yet, so
Yeah,
I'll
it's
figure it out.
It's a what do you call that?
acronym.
It's an acronym for nothing.
Yeah, nothing
pretty
right now.
much. That's
Yeah.
what that's
Right now.
come
Okay.
up with something cool for it.
B.
Man, I forgot my Bible, so I gotta be on the phone this time. I'm not distracted, guys. I promise.
Best operational mechanical bomb. I don't fucking know. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Best
Yeah,
operational
try it again.
mechanical.
Try it again. Try it again.
Bomb within a bomb.
I'll help you think of something, but I'm gonna copyright it or trademark it. So
Yeah, it's
I gotta get royalties every time
Okay.
if it's good. If you
Okay.
like it,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Said ro-
I'm gonna get royalties, bro.
How was y'all's weeks?
Busy, bro. Busy. I don't even charge my phone anymore. My phone is barely got to 48%.
Okay, Ragu.
48%, and I didn't charge it last night. I don't charge my phone anymore because my screen time has reduced significantly too. I'm proud of that.
What would you say? How much? Or how many hours?
I'm not sure. There for a minute, it was up there. I think I got it down to single digits. I was in double digits for a while.
You're in double digit hours?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
This was like a while
never
back.
touched that in my life,
Like
bro.
11 or so.
Bro, I've never
Goodness.
touched.
Is that for the
in my
week, right? Or is it
life.
for the week?
I think no, it's
oh,
for a day.
It's for a day. It's
Usually,
average.
yeah.
No,
That's-
then I gotta double check. I thought it was for the week.
That's averages, bro. That's daily average.
No, it's not 11 then.
Damn,
I'm
that's crazy,
exaggerating.
bro.
I forgot where you can check that. Check that right now.
It's if you just look up screen time,
yeah.
it'll probably pop up. But for those of y'all that are watching and tuning in, welcome to the number one podcast, the World Confessions Podcast. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for joining us on this Friday evening. It's a beautiful day here in Lubbock, Texas. The weather is changing. It's getting a little bit warmer out here. The mornings are nice and fresh. The evenings are nice and cool. It's the weather's slowly transitioning, getting a little bit warmer. It looks like we're gonna have an early spring, from what I can tell. And so yeah, got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend, and yeah, I don't know. Things keep churning away. Keep knocking down those walls, knocking down the barriers. Keep building brick by brick the walls, the kingdom. And so, thank y'all for joining today. And I know that today, if you are listening, that means you're actively trying to pursue greatness. And if I feel like this podcast, we have established that this is a growth-centered podcast. Growth and faith. Growth through faith. How about we say that? Growth through
Go
faith.
through faith.
That's
So-
a good way to put it.
It's not only a way for you to grow your faith, but you grow, which by growing your faith, you grow as an individual. But each of us are growing in many different ways. And it's like whether it be our businesses, our education, our overall just knowledge and wisdom about life, and helping that translate into our finances, into our relationships with our friends, our family members, our loved ones. This podcast is all about growth. And so, for all of y'all that are tuning in, I know that that is what y'all are pursuing. And if you are not subscribed, and that sounds like something that you're interested in, that sounds like the journey you want to go embark on along with us, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Comment, drop anything. I don't care what you comment, as long as you comment. And yeah, man, it's great to be back live and in living color on a Friday night here in Lubbock, Texas, at the #1 detail shop in West Texas, Detail 806.
Thanks for the plug.
Shout out Detail 806. But yeah, man, I got to plug, bro. Got to plug. I feel like we got to do a better job of doing that. Plugging our businesses, which for me, I'm a real estate agent. So for all of y'all that are in Lubbock, Texas area, Lubbock, Texas, Plainview, Texas, if any of y'all that are in this area,
The 806.
if y'all are in the 806, hit me up. Hit me up for all of your real estate needs.
For some
Nah.
reason, it feels like we just
Fuck
doxed
that
ourselves.
in Texas, bro.
If you're in Texas, it's pretty difficult.
It feels like we just doxed ourselves, but I don't think nobody cares like that, right?
I think we've mentioned it before.
Well, I kind of catch myself. I'm like, do I mention it or do I just kind of say area? It is what it is at this point. I mean, I'm sure people know now,
I mean, there's like 400,000 people in Lubbock or something like that. So
but there's only one Detail 806.
there's only one Detail 806.
Know
I
where
got
to find
cameras.
us. Pull up right now.
I got cameras.
You got cameras. Don't come. Especially whenever it's after hours and he's working by himself. He works naked. Just saying.
With the garage door open, blast the music,
Yep.
with the suds flowing everywhere.
Yep. It's kind of crazy.
Mm.
Can't believe it, but you know what? By all means, it's his shop. You can do what you want, right? It's your kingdom. You can do what you want.
Do whatever the fuck you want to do when you're me.
But yeah, man. I just wanted to catch up with y'all real quick before we get started, because I know you said you had a busy week. Just a lot of schoolwork or what?
Yeah, pretty much. School, gym. You get behind, and then like I got behind a little bit. And when I got behind, it feels like, dang, it's so hard to catch back up. Because for me, I'm like very organized. I'm so ahead, and like me, I like things done right then and there. Like I'm right then and there.
Like as soon as the assignment gets assigned?
Pretty much, yeah. Or like for an example, even other things too. Like I left my headphones in one of the classrooms, right? And everything was already closed, and I was stressing out over it so much that the first thing I did the next morning, as soon as everything opened, I went and got them, just because I couldn't stand knowing that, like, hey, there's something going on in the back of your mind that's bothering you, that's not, like, it's getting in the way of other things you have to worry about. So those small little details, there was a lot of those this week where I feel like I have to take care of all those small details before I can start focusing on the main thing again. Because if I'm just working on something for the main thing, I have all these other thoughts about other things that I can't get done yet, kind of ruining my mindset. That's just kind of the way I am. I'm like real, like, when something's bothering me, it's gonna bother me for a while until I get it
I would say
a solution to it.
Well, at least something that helps me, which I brought it up before, but having a physical list, right? Like if I have a to-do list, right? I write down everything that I need to do, whether or not it has to relate to work or if it's personal. It could be like get shampoo, like things that I know that I need to do. And by me just writing it down, it automatically in my mind, it's like, well, it's not just floating around somewhere in the ether. I have it written down. I can forget about it until I need to pull it up.
No, yeah, I do a list sometimes. I do like a sticky note, but it's just those small little nuances that, like, dang, I lost my headphones. I can't function until I know I find them, or until I know they're lost, or until I know, like, hey, it's just small little nuances like that where I'm like, man, I can't function
bro,
because the small little detail is bothering, eating me alive.
well, y'all know how I am. So this week I lost my wallet, and
Ooh,
so
we're all
I was like,
connected.
but literally I went days and I was not stressed at all about it. I was like, I'll find it.
See, I'm trying to be like
Like
that.
I'll find it. It'll come back to me.
It's gotten to a
Don't
point
worry.
where, this is pretty a common factor that happens often with Derek. And I remember a few moments where Derek's just looking. He's looking for stuff. And I step in. I'm like, Derek, I somehow find it.
Bro,
and
it
it's
just
like, bro.
appears.
It's crazy.
It's like
Yo.
I open this door right here and there's nothing there, and then Raul opens it and it's just like sitting there. I'm like,
It's crazy how
what the
that
heck,
works.
bro? I
And
looked there.
it's
He's
like
like, oh.
out of 2 spots, you could have lost it, right? You recall being in 2 spots, and it's not in the 2 spots that you recall being. It's somewhere
It's
completely
someone completely
different.
else.
I'm like,
Bro.
bro, I don't remember being here.
That's
And it
how
was
it is.
here.
But like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, it'll come up. I'll
See,
find
I
it.
Yeah,
try to
it's
be
just-
like,
I literally was not stressed about it.
Another
at all.
moment.
I was like, it's whatever.
the only
I'll
thing that
find it.
bothers me is because like I'm real uptight on money.
Mhm.
So I'm like, damn, if I really did lose them, it is what it is. But then now I gotta break in the budget, buy some new headphones.
Yeah.
And then I do that, and then they pop up. It's like, well, I just, that's what I'm trying to avoid, and that's why I stress out about it a little bit more than anything. I stress
Mhm.
about stuff like that more than any other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of bad, but it
And
doesn't happen
You know
often.
one thing too, and I've been like with my headphones, like I just don't wear them, or if I do, I don't play nothing. Like I literally
Mhm.
just been even when I drive around, I'm driving around in silence now. Like
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
noticed that.
listen to anything. I don't have no background music. Like I literally just have my headphones on, and that's it. Like or
I
just
caught
won't- or I
myself
just, or I
doing
just
that
won't
too.
put them on.
Because I usually also find myself getting tired of listening to the same stuff over and over. There's always like so much new songs you can find
Mm-hmm.
so quickly.
Like I don't know. Like if I have something that I want to listen to, like a podcast or something like that, then I'll put them on so I can listen to it. But other than that, I just don't. I be in silence a lot these days. I be in silence, and I like it. It's peaceful.
And then
peaceful.
because people are already saying like, "Are you gonna get new headphones? Are you gonna get headphones?" Nah, it's all right. I'll be fine with that. I'm not even a headphone person really. I just
Mhm.
kind of got them just to mostly for the gym.
Yeah.
But I listen to the Katy Perry they got going on in the.
I know they be playing some random stuff there at the gym.
But that and then obviously schoolwork. I always try to stay ahead. Like I'm the type where I'll start doing next week's stuff instead of
That's smart though.
yeah,
That's smart.
because it gives me that leeway. Cause like I work hard all week. That way I can kind of like not chill, but handle other stuff, outside life stuff on the weekends. Like I'm gonna see some family tomorrow. Um, go see my nephew. He starts baseball season starting. Go see some of his games. So stuff like that, right? But if I had all this stuff I was worrying about, stressing out in the back of my mind, I wouldn't be able to enjoy that.
Mhm.
So that's why I kind of. Well, that's what it's
Um,
for, though.
yeah.
Like that's what the days. Like, I kind of took what you said into heart about every day is just a new day. Like take away the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Just do the day.
Mhm. Nah, and I saw your brother officially announced that he's gonna be a dad.
Yeah,
Congratulations
dude,
to you. You're gonna be a uncle again.
dude, I
Uncle
know.
again.
I went from the youngest to unk status twice in a row within
Twice
a
over.
span of 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that
they
was-
announced that's going on, and then work.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's like Sam, I'm always in competition with time. Cause this is like as soon as I sit down, I'm like, dang, I should be, man. If I have time to breathe, I have time to do this assignment. If I have time to sleep, I have time to go to the gym. If I have time to watch TV, watch the Super Bowl, I have time to do this. It's like
Yeah,
that's
there's
I fight with
always-
myself a
There's
lot.
always something to do. Essentially, there's always something to do.
So I was fighting with myself a lot this week, but caught up, slowing down a little bit, getting back into
Now you just
the
get to
well-oiled
You
machine.
get to relax.
Yeah, it
and-
was kind of like it was the well-oiled machine, and then once you start overworking, it's like, oh shit, it's about to explode or like start steaming. But then once it gets done, it starts slowing down again. That's kind of where I'm at.
Mhm.
So it was a real busy week, but I love it. Like
Mhm.
everything we talk about, enjoy the journey.
Mhm.
You're getting better. So I've shifted my mindset a lot. It's like, oh, I'm busy all day. I don't have time for nothing. But what else would I be doing?
You're gaining XP. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. So I like it.
Right, you?
It's been a good week. A little bit slower on the labor side of things, but it allowed me to really focus on working on the business and kind of how we mentioned beforehand before we started the #1 podcast of the world. Shout out Confessions. Subscribe. I was building my bomb. Literally the structure of my business, and just throughout the whole week, similar to kind of you, I allow myself to go into my thoughts. I just think, even when there's things going on around me, I just think, especially when I'm alone, doing labor or doing whatever at the gym, here, there, taking a shit, just doing whatever. I just allow myself to think and go into my thoughts. And how I mentioned before, overthinking can be a superpower. If you overthink into the positive, into the future, looking down your timeline, you're able to kind of imagine what life can be. And then once you imagine that, you're able to write it down, visualize it, and be like, okay, let's get to work. And then you begin to build. And that's been story of my life for 4 years now since I began my journey. And that's really what I kind of worked on. The only negative that I could say about this week is kind of dealing with some health issues. I don't know what's wrong with me. Something's wrong. Something's off with my body. That's something that I can tell just with lack of energy really, and just kind of feeling off. I'm like, something's not right with my system right now, which is my body. But just keep on trotting along. My sleep has gone to complete crap, and from not sleeping at all at night to wanting to sleep all day, which makes no sense to me, but trying to get back on track, of course, when it comes to that regard. And I don't know. Other than that, it's been a really good week. Really good week, just being able to work on the business rather than consistently working in the business. So that's a bright side. And I was kind of talking to my brother about this earlier, just because we had another detailer move into this lot, bro. Another one. So that makes 4 of us total, right? And my brother kind of mentioned, like, oh, it's competition. I'm like, I ain't worried about that. The only competition that I genuinely see are the top 2 here. The top 2 in Lubbock, Texas. And how I describe it is, and I don't really look at it as competition. I look at it more as inspiration, because they're levels ahead of me. I'm able to put my pride aside and say, hey, those people, they're levels ahead of me. And I'm able to take inspiration and learn from them and build my own thing, which I like. And I have one of them as a mentor, so I'm able to reach out to them every now and then and ask any questions in regards to the business side of things or even labor side of things. So that's always a bright side. And I described it earlier as I finally have them in my vision, if that makes sense. Like, everyone else around me, yeah, I see them, but I'm just like, like, no worry, like, I'm not worried about them, just because you can literally go into any business and you can literally see. It takes a special kind of eye, but you can literally see the systems at work, like how they sell things, how they operate things, how they market things. And it's such a beautiful thing, but it takes, like I said, an eye to actually visually see it and acknowledge it and understand it. And I feel like I'm at that level in my journey to where I can actually see the top 2 in my sights now, which in itself is a blessing, because in my opinion it shows that I am leveling up, I am growing. So that is a good feeling to have. So that's how my week's been.
A lot of thinking, a lot of thought, a lot of
A lot of brain work,
brain
yeah.
working, brainstorming, a lot of thinking,
Yeah.
planning.
And
Yeah.
something that I like, I don't know where I heard it from, but someone mentioned, I think it was Kanye, how we need to be more like kids. Kids have something very special to them, and what that is their imagination. And the more you grow, the older you get, the system, people try to suppress that, try to kill that from us, try to take that from us. And I think it was Kanye mentioned that we should keep that. We should keep that imagination, because that allows us to visualize, to dream, and then eventually build towards that and build the person that you want to become. So that's something that I like.
Isn't the most like just you're mentioning building the bomb and all that? To me, isn't like one of the most beautiful things. You get like a blank canvas, and then your brain just spits out a bunch of stuff, and it's all organized and planned out and
Yeah,
beautiful. It's like, hey, dang, this came from my brain. Like
exactly.
that, and that's like I kind of compare it to art. Like there's very talented people out there that can draw, that can paint, that can very creative, imaginative like a kid. But like you said, the system as we grow older strips that away because you can't you can't live off of art, even though that's your passion, even though you're good at it, even though that's your talent, you're born with it. It's not gonna pay the bills unless you're a top artist selling it for millions of dollars. But from the majority, very talented, that's a false system to the 9 to 5 and stuff like that, which sucks.
I think life kind of, or people as they experience life, take it as dreaming isn't actually something that will lead towards what you think it will. I think life can beat you down, and then often society will tell you to conform. Like only special people um, can achieve great things, right? But I think it's kind of how you're saying you have to believe that it's real. You have to believe that you actually can accomplish it, and it starts with that belief. Once you actually believe it, then that's whenever you can start thinking of, okay, how can I get to that? I know it's real. I know it's possible. So how can I do it? But if you don't even believe that you can accomplish anything great, well then that's whenever you don't really think about.
Yeah, that's the most
trying-
common thing. Already believing you're more than halfway there.
Bringing your dreams into reality.
Yeah. But that's the life that we're living. And I'm
Yeah,
glad.
I just feel kind of for other people that are good at something and want to pursue it, but they don't. That's guy. They gotta come watch the #1 podcast in the world, Confessions Podcast. Subscribe if you haven't already. Whatever you plug, right? But like stuff like that, it's just kind of feel bad for them. Like they, and you know, if you say you do want to be a great artist or streamer, but a lot of people, like you said, don't believe that they can, or that it's only the 1%. Well, why not me? Why not?
And kind of how I was mentioning earlier to you, Jerome, my favorite verse as of lately, Matthew chapter 7, verse 8. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. And in a way, I feel like that's just been the story of my life, you know, just praying to God, asking Him, searching for Him, seeking these answers, seeking truth. And time after time, it's just been revealed to me. When I ask these questions, I'm giving the answers by God.
And I think that's another thing. Humbling yourself to know that there's you cannot rely on your own knowledge, your own wisdom, your own understanding. There are some things that you have to go to God to, and then pretty much everything. And if you're able to put your pride and ego aside, saying, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but at the same time, having that faith and assurance that with God by your side, you can't lose, then you can have that fearless type of spirit whenever you go on those endeavors that seem like, oh my gosh, this is an impossible task. You can overcome it because God's going to give you those answers. And I think that's part of why we read the Word. It's because this builds our faith and allows us to apply the scriptures that we read to our lives. And whenever we do have those moments of self doubt, we can say, you know what? No, God says if we seek, we shall find. If we knock, He'll answer. You know, so I think that's a big part of why it's so important to read.
Like you said though, seeking it and being intentional about it, because as of lately too, I've seen a lot of people kind of start making their journey towards Christ and getting baptized and posting scriptures and this and that. And then I'll go to the weekend, and then that same person, like I saw it personally, popped up on a social media, right? They're shaking ass and drinking and throwing down shots, and I'm like, you're literally just preaching and saying, oh, this and this, you feel so good, you're happy, like things are gonna change, and then you go back immediately, like right after that moment, and do the complete opposite of what you were just preaching about. And that's one thing that I've noticed a lot lately too, and something that I kind of wanted to connect to what we said last time about legitimately seeking it, because I feel like that with God by your side, you can't lose, can be kind of used as a crutch to some people. It's like, oh, God's on my side, I can't lose, but I'm still gonna do my thing,
And that's where I believe your actions and your heart need to match those words. And a question that popped up earlier throughout the week was just kind of touching base on everything that we're talking about. Is a question. The question is, do you guys believe God talks to us? Does God talk to you? You know, and I've seen a lot of people kind of argue against that. Like, you're just reading a book. Reading a word. Like, how does God talk to you? How do you know? You know, and I started thinking about it more and more. And what people don't understand is that God is greater than us. He's not the only time he came down to us in human form was when Jesus walked this world, right? And he was able to allow us to understand and what's the word, and connect to him. And was it hyperboles, or how does Jesus talk in what in parables? You know, and we were able to understand him in that way. But Jesus, but God now communicates, for me at least, in, I don't know, it can be in anything and everything that you can find him in, whether it's just your thoughts or someone coming to you and telling you something, or you see a certain action. It can be in anything and everything. And that's what I feel like the more I've grown in faith, the more signs I've been able to see. And for majority of people, it may sound crazy, it may sound delusional, but it's just been genuine.
My answer to that, and you're absolutely right. My answer is, the reason why people will be like, well, how do you know it's God? Well, it's because I have a relationship with him. It's like, of course, I wouldn't recognize the voice of someone that I don't know, right? And this right here, the word, is God literally pouring himself out to us so that we can understand him. And as we read the word, which the Bible says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God, that faith gets built because I read the word. And because I read the word, I'm growing in that relationship with God. And the more I come to grow my relationship, the more I understand God's voice versus something that's not God's voice. If you don't know if it's God's voice or not, well, you probably don't know God, right? And once you start reading the word and start applying it, then you know, like, okay, this is God, because I recognize his voice from the word. So I think, well, if someone were to say, well, how do you know it's God or not? It's because I have a relationship with God, because I read the word. I know what the word says. I know what he says. So I think if you're confused about whether or not something is or isn't God, we'll go back to the word. What does the word say? And so for me, that's how I would answer that. Is that's how you know it's God, because you have to have a relationship with him. Because yeah, if some random person came in here and started talking to me, and I don't know who this person is, I don't know whether or not they're saying is true, but it's the same thing with God. I think kind of what you mentioned, Jeremy, is that, but on like a another level, as far as people can do the acts of getting baptized and going to church and things like that, but are you actually growing your relationship with God? Because I think if I were to, for example, right, I'm not going to do something to intentionally hurt you or Raul. Why? Because I have a relationship with y'all. I know y'all. Like, I know this isn't something that Raul would like if I did, right? Or this is something that you would like if I did, right? But if I don't build a relationship, if I don't work on that relationship with y'all, then I don't care, right? If you're just some random person who maybe I know of, I know you're there, right? But if I don't know you, then I don't mind if I offend you, if I don't do something that you like or not. It's the same thing with God. Is the actions that you take, you know God's watching, and as you continue to learn about God and grow in your faith, you get that conviction. You get that, oh, I know God wouldn't like this, because you're reading the word and you see exactly what it says, what to do, what not to do, how to be a good follower, how not to be a good follower. And so if you are the type of person that just goes to the church, you do your communion, you get baptized, all those things, but you don't actually grow your faith and get a relationship with God. That's like the number one thing, right? Put everything else aside. God wants to have an individual one-on-one relationship with you. How do you grow in a relationship with somebody? You talk to them. You you learn about them, right? You open up to them and you allow them to open themselves up to you. And so I know we think about God, and God is this almighty creator that we can never fully understand, but he did leave this behind. He sent his son to give us these teachings so that we could grow and learn about him and that we could connect with him. So this right here, this love letter that he left behind for us, it's so important for us to read it so that we can learn about him, connect with him, and build that relationship. And after we build that relationship, over time, now it will make us feel a certain way about going out and doing things that we know we're not supposed to.
And it's funny you say that because like coming from me growing up, had no church background, disliked going to church, felt like it was a chore. Family wasn't really religious. Just did it just to do it to make my parents happy in high school. It wasn't even until I was in my 20s where I actually went back to church, right? And even then, I really don't go as consistently as I should. But what makes me feel better about all of that is this. At least I know I'm actively growing my relationship with him through this, right? Even if I don't do it on my own, at least I know there's some part of my week where I'm going to. And that makes me feel better because even though sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing enough, like, oh, I don't go to church every Sunday, I don't pray every night, but I'm still doing something every week to actively grow my relationship. I feel like that's something, especially if coming from someone like me that had no religious background like that, is doing a lot more than people who've grown their whole lives in the church and still are hypocritical and still, like, how is someone like me, you know, and I mean it in a humble way, how is someone like me who knew barely started learning a little bit in the past year or two, no more than you, and you've been in it your whole life? That kind of like that's one thing that I've always struggled with the church is the hypocrites, the wolves in sheep clothing, the all that. I know we've addressed all that, but those are experiences and the foundation of my journey. So those are things that I'm always gonna carry with me.
And I believe for those people that do face those struggles, I think a good testimony of my life has been the same, where I feel like in a way I have turned my back against God, and he's always going to be there for you. He's always going to be there for you. You just have to go, and he's always there waiting for you at the door. You just got to go and open it for him.
It's crazy how he's just there waiting.
Yeah.
Like I was like, gone. On first time back at church, I was gonna burst into flames, but he was just like, I've been waiting on you. Like, it took you long enough. It's more like that.
Yeah, and I think that's the part of it where it's like, it's we often, I think, we allow our sins and our inadequacies to prevent us from going to God because we in our heart we don't feel like we're good enough. But once you go to God, you realize none of us are good enough, and the closer you get to God, you realize just how far away from Him you are, and that makes you want to grow closer and start changing your habits. But if you are that person, I've been that person that's turned their back on God and gone down that path. It's as simple as how we're saying and how Raul and Jeremy have said. It's like as soon as you decide to, you know what, I'm ready to get closer to God. Like I'm tired of living this life that doesn't make me feel fulfilled. It hurts me more than it helps me. It's not taking me anywhere. Like I don't like who I am. Once you decide to turn and repent literally means to do a 180. Once you decide to repent from that, then that's whenever God's like, all right, I'm here. I've been waiting the whole time. Been waiting the whole time. Let's go. And that's one thing. That's what I love most about God. That He's always
I
there.
love it. And ever since we started this journey, and every aspect of my life has increased more in that little time than. I mean, obviously throughout the year we're growing exponentially, right? But it was like that, right? But then as soon as we incorporated God in the center of it, it was like just straight up. It was like a rocket
Yeah.
in all aspects of my life. And I was like, man, this was the missing puzzle piece to my bomb. Should have been a long time ago. But that's one thing I'm very grateful for. And
I think it's like the story of Jonah, man. Like how we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it's like I felt like for a while I was just trying to run away from exactly what God had always been calling for, just running away from it, going the opposite direction. And sure enough, as soon as I was like, all right, fine. As soon as we just like, fine, we'll do exactly what God's been asking us to do. Now it's like, okay, now we found our path. Yeah.
how do you feel, real quick, before we get into the word? I've debated on this for a long time, right? And this summer, I want to do a hard reset, like a hard reset, upgrade everything, upgrade equipment, upgrade banks, like everything, clean out social media, right? But I've also thought like I want to do a factory reset with myself, and I want to get baptized or something like that, or something where I'm like, hey, on this date, I remember that I fully gave my life away to God, right? But I know in the Bible, I think it says you can only have one baptism, right?
No.
Or is that in only Catholicism? I confess only one baptism.
I wouldn't be. I
think
wouldn't know.
that's. I know that at the Catholic Church you get baptized when you're a baby.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying,
Um,
right?
But
So they're
but
saying you only get baptized once,
the
and I got
only thing
baptized as
the
a
only thing about
baby.
that is that baptism is a public confession to display your commitment to Christ, and the full thing is like when you get submerged under the water and you come up, it's you're washing your life away. It's symbolic in a lot of ways, and Jesus asks us to do that once we become believers, right? Once you decide to dedicate your life to God, that's whenever you're supposed to get baptized. Now, whenever you're a baby, you don't have no choice. You don't know, right? So, that's not necessarily something that I would say is like you getting baptized. Um, so as you get older and you actually are able to make that decision to follow Christ, then that's whenever you would actually get baptized.
Yeah, is that I'm on that. I want something to like, hey, you're serious about it now. You still mess up, you're still a loser, but hey, you're on the right path, and now you're old enough to make that decision yourself. You're choosing to. No one's making you. And I want to do some, like I said, I want a factory reset. Throw away this life. Be halfway with my degree, more than halfway. Potentially buy a house, move, get a new off PC setup. So like
Yeah,
upgrade my phone.
I would
I want
say
to do.
like yeah, definitely like getting baptized is not something that you do once you do it as an adult. Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't do it again
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah,
do it
yeah, yeah.
once.
But I feel like
But that's once you become an adult and you make that decision. But as an infant, you're not able to. That's not a choice that you make. That's more of a tradition than anything else.
yeah. So
But
recently, like,
that's why Jesus calls all of us to get baptized once we decide to be a follower.
and I feel like that might be one of your answers to your question about like, does God talk to you? That's been on my mind and heart, like, kind of lately, like maybe in the past few months. Not heavy, but it's a thought that's there, and I would like to do it eventually if I could, or if like the way I was thinking, according to the religious laws, is that okay? Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's and that's part of it. Like I would say, if you haven't been baptized yet, if you've dedicated your life to God, and you're like, have I been baptized? You haven't been baptized yet.
So, a solution that I had, because exactly how we're kind of mentioning, if we're already baptized, what can we do, right? And I actually had this moment that you're kind of mentioning about is when it was sometime last year. I went to confession and I was just confessing how I guess my struggles, whatever I was struggling in my life with, and shout out Father Manriquez. He told me he listened, of course, to my problems, and then something that really stuck with me that he told me was don't only give this aspect of your life to God. Give everything to God. Everything. Your finances, your health, your business, all of it. Once you do that, and that's something that Derek alluded to, and you as well. Once you do that, you'll start to realize how everything is just going to skyrocket. And I know you mentioned how you kind of just want a hard reset, but we can't really do that. We can't just erase everything that we've gone through. We can't really erase who we completely are, right? You are who you are at the time, at that time. You're at where you're at, right? But once you give everything up to God, you start to build those aspects. You start to build those details. Hey, you know what? I am where I'm at. I might be at a lower level. I might be at this level. I might be at this high level already, but there's still room for growth. And then slowly but surely, you start to realize those aspects start to grow once you give it up to God. Once you start to let go a little bit. And that's something that I personally struggled with because I love being in control of everything, holding on to everything, every single little detail of my life. But once you just let go and let God, you literally realize how everything just begins to flow. Everything begins to grow, and that's the best way I could describe it. And that was based off my experience, because I had a similar situation where I'm just like, bro, I need to like who I am right now is not enough. Like I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being who I am. I just want to restart. I want to just start fresh, right?
Yeah, that's how I am right now.
But in a way, we can't really you can't erase the past, right? We've gone through what we've gone through. We've learned what we've learned. We've experienced what we've experienced. Accept that and let it go.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm okay with the past. It is what it is, right? But I'm talking about like things that are still kind of baggage in a way that I've already accomplished and I've already gotten rid of and still kind of there in memory wise or whatnot. Like I have a bank account that's been in the negatives so many times throughout when I was in high school, right? It's like, okay, that's baggage. That's not me no more. I won't be in negatives again. Let me get rid of that 1% savings account and get, okay, let me do 3 or 4 now. And at that point, fresh restart. If I mess it up, then I'll let God, like, hey, I'm doing it. If it messes up, at least I know I'm saved now and we're in this together. Back then, when I was messing up, broke, whatever, stealing, sneaking out, that was just me. That wasn't God. So now I want to do it, hard reset, and we'll do it together now. And that's part of the reason
Exactly.
why I want to be baptized again, restart, leave old baggage behind. I mean, obviously, whatever happened in the past has made you who you are today, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to bring it with you. You can just remember it.
And there's your answer within your statement, letting go and letting God.
Yeah. So that's kind of like I've been on that journey. Like I kind of want to do something like that.
That's a good thing to hear, though.
Thanks.
And you're acknowledging it too. So
It's like the first step is admitting it.
yeah.
Yeah. Then you just take it. I think part of it's like whenever Jesus was preaching, right? Whenever he was alive, people would get saved and baptized the same day. That's how it worked. Like you get saved as soon as you give your life to God, get baptized. As soon as you give your life to God, get baptized. Like that's how it worked back in the day. So and that's more the traditional way of how it's done, like old school church. You go to church and you get saved. It's like, all right, we're doing baptisms. That's how it worked. Now it's a little bit different. The church has evolved a little bit, but in essence, that's kind of how it works, man. As soon as you like, my life is given to God, everything's given to God. Shoot, get baptized. Get
Yeah.
baptized. There's no reason to wait. I think it's one of those things.
Are
where
you
it's like,
baptized?
as soon as
a baby, that's why I was asking
yeah,
that question.
As soon as so like, that's what I'm saying. I think it's one of those things where if you do it, you're like, damn, I should have done it a long time ago. Why did I wait?
Yeah.
Why did I wait? Other things I understand, but I
Mhm.
think when it comes to like something
Baptism.
like baptism, why wait?
Wait,
Get
wait, right.
baptized. Get
The other
baptized.
stuff, do it on your own. Like
Do
God
it on your own
used,
time whenever
yeah.
when doing it on your own time. But I think
Mhm.
when it comes to getting baptized, that right there is one of the most pivotal moments in your walk with God.
Mhm.
It
Just for
is.
me, at least, I know I want a day where, like, hey, that day is the day where, like, hey, I made that decision myself. No one made it for me,
Yeah,
and I don't have a date like that, so it's kind of like,
I don't think it's just a matter of just at your church of choice, just like, hey, when y'all holding baptism again? And usually they'll hold 'em, like every other week or once a month or something like that. Like, okay, I want to get baptized. And
and
then
that's the thing too. I don't have a home church, so it's either I do it at either like I mean, some of my friend Justin,
Mhm.
maybe your church, or back in Plainview. I'll figure out one of those, but
Yeah,
it's definitely been on my heart lately. So
yeah, absolutely. And so I think, or at my church we do it, I believe every other week, on a Sunday night, and they hold baptisms
keep
for
that in
anybody that
mind.
wants to. Anyone that wants to
Even
participate.
if I just go, never met them, never went to church with them, never talked to them, I'm just like, hey,
I want to get baptized. Yeah,
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 all right. I'll keep that in mind for sure.
yeah.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah,
I just thought I'd ask you real quick
yeah.
before we dive into this.
Yeah, no. We took a little while longer
Yeah.
to get to the word than we have before. So,
We probably can make it a little bit short. Maybe like read a paragraph or two. Or three.
yeah. We'll read through the Proverbs, and then we'll see how far we get. This one's short. This one's pretty short.
Which one is it?
17. Yeah, we're in Proverbs chapter 17. Here, I'm gonna hit the camera real quick.
Are you baptized?
Yeah, I'm the anomaly though. I got baptized when I was about 17.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you didn't do it when you were a baby?
No,
They
no.
weren't like tradition like that.
No, just because with my parents at least, they've always believed and they've always like steered me towards God, but they never they weren't big on going to church. They never pushed me to go to church, and for some reason I always had some sort of calling, like I need to go to church. I need to go confess. I need to go do my communion, my baptism, my confirmation, and then there went a period where I kind of strayed away, and then eventually I don't know what it was. It's just I feel like in a way
It's
maybe
God.
God,
It's
yeah,
just
maybe
crazy.
God knew.
Talking to you, it's just crazy how
Maybe
like
God knew I needed him.
you
know?
make this decision all on your own. That's
Yeah.
the best part.
And yeah, now I'm here. You know,
At 20,
Now we're here.
yeah, over here.
Now we're here.
who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Prior.
Oh yeah.
Who's it? Me.
I think it's you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for allowing to be here with my brothers, discussing your word and getting to know you, gaining knowledge. I pray that we have a great, safe weekend. Keep everybody safe and warm. May the temperatures continue to rise. I'm ready for the sun and the light again, because that reminds me of you. Nobody likes the cold and dark. I pray prosperity on Derek's real estate business, Raul's detail business, and my schooling, and whatever I got going on. May you continue to be with us, continue to be with our families. Any health complications, may you heal those as quickly as you can. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm very proud of us and getting more comfortable with prayer.
Yeah.
I think
It took a while.
it's prayer's beyond powerful.
It's nerve wracking at
And
first.
It is, but I think, man, that's you talking to God, and Jesus. Like I said, if you want a clear example, Jesus' life is an example. Jesus prayed all the time. He prayed all the time. He knew the word because he was the word. He fasted all the time. He got baptized. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things, these are just examples, and prayer is just one. Man, it's incredibly powerful, and I'm very proud of us being able to do that amongst each other. Not letting it be a taboo.
Comfortably now. I know
Yeah.
at first it was probably a little nerve wracking,
Yeah,
but now it's like.
but now it's like I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Okay, chapter 17. I haven't read in a while, so I'll read this one. Then one of y'all can take over, Matthew. This one's pretty short, anyways. Better is a dry morsel and quietness with it than a house full of feasting with strife. A servant who acts wisely will rule over a son who acts shamefully, and will share in the inheritance among brothers. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests hearts. An evildoer listens to wicked lips, and a liar pays attention to a destructive tongue. He who mocks the poor taunts his maker. He who rejoices at calamity will not go unpunished. Grandchildren are the crown of old men, and the glory of sons is their fathers. Excellent speech is not fitting for a fool, much less are lying lips to a prince. A bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner. Wherever he turns, he prospers. He who conceals a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends. A rebuke goes deeper into one who has understanding than 100 blows into a fool. A rebellious man seeks only evil, so a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. He who returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so abandon the quarrel before it breaks out. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. Why is there a price in the hand of a fool to buy wisdom when he has no sense? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A man lacking in sense pledges and becomes guarantor in the presence of his neighbor. He who loves transgression loves strife. He who raises his door seeks destruction. He who has a crooked mind finds no good, and he who is perverted in his language falls into evil. He who sires a fool does so to his sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. A wicked man receives a bribe from the bosom to pervert the ways of justice. Wisdom is in the presence of one who has understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. It is not also good to fine the righteous, nor to strike the noble for their uprightness. He who restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even when a fool, when he keeps silent, is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is considered prudent. Proverbs chapter 17. See, that was a short one.
Yeah, that's kind of good. Nice
me
and to the
see.
point.
There's one that stuck out to me.
I think the one that automatically stood out to me was grandchildren are the crown of old men, and the glory of sons is their fathers. I think for all of us, I think we're on that path of trying to make our name great and understanding that when we win, our fathers are more proud of us than we could ever imagine. And it's kind of like that saying where no one wants there's only one person alive who wants you to be more successful and better than they are, and that's your father. And I think of how much it means to me to be able to make my father proud, knowing that how much he's gone through to try to put me down the right path and how much he's done for me. And so, and but then it also says right after that, um, what does it say? It says pretty much often, a foolish son is a grief to his father. You know, so it's like, okay, well, the who you are as a son, you are a reflection of your father in either a good or bad way, right? And how you act, that's how people are going to perceive your parents, right? And so you are doing a great disservice to your father or to your mother whenever you're one of those fools who are out there, you know, wild and out and about. And I think for me, it's like I want to honor my parents in everything that I do. I want to be able to reflect my mom and my dad in my actions, and I want people to be able to go up to my parents and say, "Hey, you raised a good child. Like, y'all did a great job." I think that right there brings me pride in knowing that they can have a son that people are like, he's a respectable young man, and I don't know. For me, that's a very important piece in my journey and what helps and a part of what helps me keep going. Like, I want to make my parents proud. I want to make my dad proud, and so I don't know. That's how that's what stood out to me.
Yeah, that better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than a fool bent on folly.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy to think about the size of a bear without her cubs. Better to run into one of those than someone, like you said, the fool was being out and about and getting into trouble and being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And to kind of connect what you were saying about wanting to be a good representation of your parents, it's funny because like when I'm with my mom, when I'm staying with my mom, we butt heads so much. Like she says that she sees a side of me that nobody knows, and I'm like, you just lying, you just gaslighting or whatever. And we have a real close relationship where we bully each other, we talk a mess. We're very close. And we're only like that towards each other. So every time we go out in public or when she talks to a friend and they mention me and they mention, and your son is so respectful, so nice, so whatever, you did a great job, whatever. He's such a great young man. And then she'll come around and tell me, man, they don't know the real you. And I'm like, whatever. But it's just like out there in the real world, I'm making them proud. But we have that tight, close relationship to where, hey, you could be a little bit loose and comfortable. And hey, that's still your mom and dad at the end of the day. Of course, they're going to see a side of you no one else sees. But overall, when someone mentions to them, like, hey, how good of a job they did with me, it makes you feel good, even though she makes a joke like, "Oh, they don't know the real
Yeah,
you.
nah,
They're lying,"
your
stuff
relationship
like that.
with your mom is it's definitely one of one.
Yeah, it's
I don't see that. like often. I don't never. I really. I
Man.
don't ever see that. So
Yeah, it's
it's
weird.
cool that you have a relationship with your mom like that.
It's at first I thought I was like, man, why is my mom not like everyone else's moms? But then it turns out as you get older, like, I like this rather than her being another way. I choose her to be my mom again, even though she makes me mad.
To kind of touch base on that verse, I take inspiration from the Tates. They mention heavily how when they win, their parents win, being able to take care of their mother, bringing honor to their father's name, and I feel like in a way, for all three of us, we're living testimonies of that. So that's similar to you, Derek. That's something that kind of pushes me forward to bring honor to my father, to be able to give the for me at least, to be able to give the life that we've never been able to see. Like that's what motivates me and drives me. Um, a verse that I wanted to kind of point out was verse 16. It says, "Why should fools have money in hand to buy wisdom when they are not able to understand it?" And I feel like I can relate to that very heavily, especially these past like 2 years, this past year, when it came to I was a fool trying to literally buy wisdom, buying courses to build this business, right? But I never truly understood it. I never like, okay, hey, I got the tools, I see it, and we kind of mentioned this last podcast how you have the study material, you have the tools, right? But you don't truly understand it. You truly don't get it. And it wasn't until this year. It took me 3 years, going on 4, to fully actually understand. Oh, okay, hey, this is why that tool is there. This is why we use this tool, and I feel like verse 16 at least stood out to me because, like I said, I was once that fool that tried to buy the wisdom, but I didn't understand it until I actually went through it, experienced it, and then I was able to understand it. So
Like buying it. Oh, I can buy the premium Chat GPT,
yeah,
right? Get my answers. But why did that know the answers and I don't? Like
yeah,
stuff like that. I I, I kind of learned recently too. I think people truly underestimate how long and how much time you have to put in to learn something, learn a skill, learn. It's like, man, you have to put in some time to be even average at it. And then if you want to excel and be like, hey, like you want to be professional in it, you got to put years into it. Like you just said, it took you 3 years to finally kind of start putting it together. But you're only gonna get better. Now in another 3 years, you're gonna be like, oh, now then you're gonna become, what's his name, Mr. Miyagi. You're gonna become Mr. Miyagi, teaching your Daniel sons.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like the 10,000 hour rule? Said
Shoot.
10,000 hours is what it takes to master something fully.
Yeah, and that's because sometimes I feel like it could be more than 10,000, especially on what skill you're trying to learn.
No, absolutely. And there's another like there's kind of another three passages that stood out to me. Um, two of them are kind of similar. Better is a dry morsel and quietness with it than a house full of feasting with strife. And what I take that as is it's better to have peace and quiet than it is to be in a loud house with maybe a lot of stuff going on, but there's a lot of strife and a lot of conflict. I think this is kind of saying living a life of peace is worth more than that fast life that may seem like it's a great time, but you never truly have peace. There's always something going on, and I don't know. I think that's a powerful verse. Another one that I mentioned says, "He who returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house." Kind of like you cannot combat evil with evil. You have to overcome evil with good, with love, and I don't know. I like that. I like how it demonstrates that evil will not depart from his house, and how it's kind of like how we talked about last week, where I brought up the analogy of if someone bumps into you and you have a cup of water, why does water come out of it?
There's water in the
Because there
cup.
was water inside of it. And it's like whatever how you react, how you return something to somebody else, right? Who does you wrong. That's because that's what's inside of you. If you return hatred with hatred, it's because there was hatred within you the whole time, and someone just brought it out of you. It's not like it just spawned there out of nowhere. It's because that's what's in you. And so, whenever you have, that love, peace, joy, that goodness and kindness inside of you, even whenever someone does something evil to you or they do something wrong or betray you or whatever, now you combat that with, well, love, peace, joy. I choose peace. I choose I choose to be kind. I choose to just move on, you know. That's because that's now what is inside of you. But I think if you allow hatred to live, if you allow yourself to retaliate in those manners, that's because that's what's inside of your house. And the longer you allow yourself to get angry, that like to rise to anger, to retaliate in those manners, that just shows that that has a stronghold over you. And so, yeah, those two. Yeah, those two.
I got one more, and this one's gonna touch. It's gonna touch some hearts. All right.
Just so
Yeah, it's gonna touch some hearts. Maybe it can touch some of the audience's hearts. But if you don't, if you haven't found this, I encourage you guys to find this. But Proverbs, verse 17: a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. And the reason why this touches my heart, and I know it's going to touch the guys' heart, but
I already did.
I think of this specific moment where we were doing a crew video, we were camping or whatever, and I was going through so much adversity. I mean, you guys have been with me through a lot of adversity, especially throughout my journey. But I remember just we were laying in this tent. It was us three, and I was kind of just venting. I was telling the boys like how my enemies were attacking me, and I didn't know what to do. I was lost, and I was going through such a difficult time, and I was just venting to the boys, and they were just listening to me. But them being there for me at that time, and just supporting me, and as well as believing in me, that moment I can remember off the top of my head. That showed me like, okay, hey, me and my brothers, we're on the same journey. We're all trying to become the best version of ourselves. We're all trying to win. And once you truly find that, you find people that align with you on your journey where you want to go towards, it feels like you're unstoppable. It feels like you can go to war with anyone, anything, and your brothers are going to be there standing next to you, ready to combat that evil. And that verse right there kind of touched the soul, it touched the
Yeah.
heart. And like I
Yeah.
said, man, these boys have been with me through thick and thin, and I can't thank y'all enough, of course.
Of course, bro. And you know how you mentioned God talks to you in mysterious ways,
Yeah.
right? I saw this Bible verse and I have it written down right here. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. The E one,
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes 4:12. And I'm like, dang, you just brought that up. You're talking about how brothers are born in times of adversity. Lone wolf can't handle it. Two back to back, but three like how we did the Spider-Man meme. Man, everything just all connected. And I never really answered the question, right? God talks to me in some serious ways, and Derek was kind of like already answering for me. I never really truly knew. Like I really like, is that God? Is it not? Because I never really knew him, so I never could confidently answer that. But as of late, as I'm growing my relationship, stuff like that is where it's like, hey, I saw this Bible verse, I put it in my notes. You had this feeling in your heart. You caught the Bible verse that of your engines in this reading. It's like, okay, now he's talking to me, and stuff like that. The whole baptism thing on my heart out of nowhere. Ever since we've been doing this, whereas before I didn't know. I was like, oh, was that a sign from God? Maybe not. Or I was kind of the person where I would use it as a crutch to my advantage. God told me you need to come home with me tonight, or so stuff like that. Or, but now I know that I was just a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now I know better, and yeah, And then it's crazy too. Like, man, it did touch the heart a little bit. I got light in the mood a little bit because
Yeah.
now what's even crazier is because we only met what 2-3 years ago. We're not who have
I was
been
about what 20, 21. We
yeah.
were
So
about 2019.
so about
around that
5
age.
years, right? Going on 5 years. We didn't really even start getting that close until we started doing Lubbock, like in
Mm.
Lubbock, like that, which I would say is probably 2-3 years ago. Ever since you did the Avenue Q first,
Mm.
right there, that's when we started getting close, right? And I was like, dang, I'm close to this guy. Thanks to Derek. When I never even knew him, I knew of him, but he wasn't a childhood friend. He wasn't an elementary friend.
Mm.
He wasn't someone I grew up with. But now, I'm real close with you. I'm like, dang, now you can't get enough of me.
Oh,
You always
right,
gotta be
right,
messing with me.
right.
I always gotta be messing with me, touching me, and I'm like, hey, that's not me. That's God. That's God.
I think tying it back to that verse and how you mentioned like that example that you put forth, I think back just to last week, right? Last week, y'all know I had a family emergency go on, and like I asked if y'all could pray for me, right? And we did, right here. And I think like that right there, that moved me because I'm like, man, like me and my friends, we pray together now. Like it's it's a whole nother thing to just be like, hey man, I'll pray for you, whatever. But to actually to know that, right there, it was not the easiest time, not uncertainty, not knowing what's gonna happen, but to know that y'all were there and that y'all prayed for me, like that meant the world to me, and to now move forward to know like, hey man, me and my brothers, we pray together. Like when problems arise, we don't like, oh f this f that, go like, like say for example you come to me saying, oh I'm having problems with this person, and f that whatever, like nah man, like if y'all come to me, and we've had our number of different things that have come up in each of our lives that, hey, you know what, we probably do need prayer for this. Now I know that it's something that we can actually pray about together, and that means a lot to me. And so
Yeah,
yeah, I
putting that
appreciated that
there.
a lot.
Of course, putting that into perspective, I've never had friends I've prayed with. That was the first time for me.
Yeah.
Right on the
Same,
spot. Oh,
same. Yeah.
first time, and I didn't
Pop my
question it.
cherry.
Yeah, I've literally, I didn't question it. I went along with it. It was for my brother. I was like, why not? I don't,
Yeah.
good. Now, like you said, it reassures. Because I mean, we've all had issues that we brought up towards each other, and especially me, I was always nervous and scared, and like, hey, like, what are y'all gonna think? But now I'm more confident. If something was bothering me, I'd bring it up easier and quicker now instead of waiting. And not only that, if it was something we really couldn't figure out, at least now we know we can pray about it and
Yeah,
slowly go from there.
let's pray about it together.
And I think I know a lot of influencers, quote unquote successful people, they mention this all the time. Like, yeah, as a lone wolf, you can get to your 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 goal or whatever. But if you really want to get there faster, if you really want to get there stronger, do it as a team.
Literally,
You got to
because
find those
And
brothers.
you'll get farther.
look
And
at all the
farther,
ideas
yeah.
you had right here on your bomb.
Yeah.
Look at all the ideas he has, all the ideas I have. That's triple the ideas you've had,
Mhm.
and you put a lot on that board.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
God bless.
God bless. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Matthew. We're in chapter 13. We're on verse verse
24.
24. Verse 24.
Just keep going until.
I think we'll see. Let me hit that thing real quick.
We'll see.
We'll see.
24.
For those of y'all that are still watching, if you haven't subscribed, why are you not subscribed? Subscribe. Road to 200 subscribers.
Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. The parable of the weeds. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he replied. The servants asked him, Do you want us to go and pull them up? No, he answered, because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time, I will tell the harvesters, First collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn. The parable of the mustard seed and the yeast. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds come and perch in its branches. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough. Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. So when fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world. The parable of the weeds explained. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one. The enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is at the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and who all do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear." The parable of the hidden treasure and the pearl. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure in the field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. The parable of the net. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen put it up on the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. "Have you understood all these things?" Jesus asked. "Yes," they replied. He said to them, "Therefore, every teacher of the law who has become a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of a house who brings out of his storeroom new treasures as well as old." A prophet without honor. When Jesus had finished these parables, he moved on from there. Coming to his hometown, he began teaching the people in the synagogue, and they were amazed. "Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers?" they asked. "Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother's name Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all these things?" And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town and in his own home." And he did not do any miracles there because of the lack of faith. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to, what was that last
58.
one? 58.
Dang, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, it was more a bunch of parables, more about
It's
short
a lot
stories.
of parables. It's a lot of parables.
And
Thankfully,
didn't
he
we
went to explain
mention parables were a story that you had to interpret yourself if you were hungry enough to look for it?
Yeah, and that's kind of how, which we had read right before that,
Mhm.
which is actually in verse 10, where they ask him, "Why do you speak in these parables?" And Jesus said, "To you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been granted. For whoever has, to him more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken away from him. Therefore I speak in parables, because while seeing they do not see, while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand." And so it is for us to want to learn and see. Thank God Jesus was actually like, "All right, let me explain some of these."
Yeah, he's like,
Um,
"Hey, let me give you some."
yeah, but I
That,
think the one of the biggest points that he had brought up was that he actually said it twice. Um, the righteous will get separated from the sinners, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth as they get thrown into the blazing fire, being a representation of hell. Um, and so there will come a time in which God also mentions, like the day of judgment, when the day comes. We know, like he also ties back into whenever it is that time for judgment day, and it's our jobs to stay on the path of righteousness, so that whenever those days do come, we are not among those who get tossed out and thrown into the furnace. But I think the other two, uh, the other two parables, the hidden treasure and the pearl, it's like once you find it, once you find Christ, once you find Jesus, you do exactly what he says is you pick up your cross daily. You sell everything that you have so that you can stay with it, so that you can have it. And I don't know. It's funny because he says it's like treasure hidden in a field. And to me, I feel like sometimes it may feel like it's hidden, but I think it's more so that we're not searching for it, or like people aren't searching for it, because it takes a lot of, I wouldn't say it's time, but I'd say it takes humility, and then it also takes the desire to want to go and search for the answers, to search for Christ, to search for the right path to go down. It takes work, and it also takes you having to step out of your comfort zone to go look for it. And it seems like it's hidden, but I don't even know if I would characterize it as hidden as much as it's it's hard to obtain, because it's so hard to deny yourself and what you want. But it's literal treasure. It's something that you would give your life up for. It's something that you would sell everything that you own just to have it. I feel like that's what having Christ, having salvation, that's what it you can equate it to, is how it says it's like hidden treasure, or like fine pearls, in that manner, where it's like it may be hard to find, but once you do finally get to that point, where I would say that that's where we're at right now, where we're like, man, we're finally getting the grasp of this, the understanding, the wisdom, and growing our faith. We can't live without it. We would give everything else away just to have it, right? And I don't know. I think that's a powerful testimony of how we should view what it is like to have a relationship with Christ, to where we would want to sell everything else, everything that we have, just to have that relationship with Him.
Just to have that pearl.
Yeah.
I really like this. I really like how he explains, like he connects with people, like telling the story.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Just kind of like interpreting it for yourself, like the parable of the mustard seed. That one's the famous one, right? Having the faith of a mustard seed.
No, that's
Or is
like
that another one?
he uses the mustard seed numerous times. But in this one, he used it in a different way, and he kind of explained what he had said with the mustard seed. I think he had explained it, I believe.
Yeah, it's 31, verse 31. That with that story, at least.
I think he explained it though. I don't know.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I learned something.
The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed when a man took and sowed his field, and this is smaller than all the other seeds, but when it is full grown, it is larger than the garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches.
I guess the same idea can still kind of work with it. Something as small as a mustard seed, being that big and providing shelter for
Yeah.
birds and
Yeah.
shade and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that last little passage
Mm-hmm.
where everyone's kind of amazed and just wondering where Jesus got all his knowledge, all his wisdom from. And they're like, isn't he just the son of a carpenter? Isn't his mother's name Mary, his brothers and his sisters? Like how does he know all these things? And then, of course, they took offense to him. And then it says, but Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own town and in his own home. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of thinking about that one too.
Yeah, man. It's the age old saying, right? Like the only people that seemingly don't have your back more than anyone else is the people that know you. Like I think funny enough, I think Jake Paul tweeted this out, and he was like, your biggest fan is someone who has no idea who you are. Like the people that know you, I think what's different about the people that actually do know you, that have grown up with you, is they've seen you whenever you were nothing, and then all of a sudden you accomplish great things, and then it's like more of the comparison game. Like, well, I know them. We went to the same school. Like we grew up. Like I know his dad.
They're not better than me.
They're
You
like
should have.
they're not better than
Yeah,
me.
you should have seen how it used to be.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
like how can he make it? And then it's like, oh, but does he think he's better? Like, it's kind of like how a situation that I had arose. I don't know if we talked about it or not. I think we touched on it, but it's like, well, how come you don't spend time with me no more? How come we don't hang out? How come whenever I text you, you don't answer no more? Like, you think you're better than me? Like, you and your little podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's like that situation where people start taking offense to you growing, and because when you start to grow, you like think about it. You literally, as you're growing up as a child, you outgrow your clothing. You outgrow even how much you eat. You outgrow your hometown because there's more than that God's calling you towards. And even in Genesis chapter 12, he's talking to Abraham, and he tells him explicitly, go to a land that I will show you. Leave the house of your father and your mother. Leave your home country to a land that I will show you, and I will make your name great. He tells him that to leave because you're whenever you're stuck in your hometown or the house of your mother or your father, you are still in a place of comfort. You're still in a place where you can never fully be pushed. Where you'll never fully be able to see what it's like to be out on your own and have to fully rely on God to provide for you and trust in him instead of leaning on the parents, leaning on the people around you that you've grown up with your whole life, and people that may have those old habits that you wanted to break, the things that you no longer want to be a part of. You want to leave that, and God tells Abraham specifically, leave that. And then once you leave, once you leave and go to a land that I will show you, then I will make your name great. It's only whenever you leave, it's only whenever you go where I'm going to show you, that's whenever I'm going to make your name great. And so I think it's very easy to look at someone and have that envy of like, we came from the same place, how come he's making it? We come from the same spot. Why did he think he had to leave? Can he not be great here? Look at me. I think I'm all right, and I come from the same town. I stayed, and so I think it's understanding that God calls us to go out into the world. Like Jesus, he made a worldwide impact, a life, lifelong, everlasting impact. And yet, whenever you go back to your hometown, it's like people only, oh, that's just Derek. You know what I mean? Oh, that's just Raul. That's just Jeremy. I know you.
High school.
Did the growing pains that you had to go through, and they saw you as a child. They saw you make all your mistakes, and they don't really see you as the reformed person that you are, and they probably don't even want to, because for you, you're like a mirror. You're a mirror for them to look at, and what are you reflecting? You're reflecting their own inadequacies. You're reflecting all the things that they didn't accomplish, even though y'all came from the same place. And so I think that's why Jesus says this: a prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and in his own household, is because they don't get to see you how someone else who doesn't know you, when they first see you and you're at your higher level, they see you and like, wow, like he's wise. He got things together. He's doing well in his business ventures. He's doing all these great things. Like, that's incredible, right? Versus them where they're like, no, I've seen him whenever he was like, I saw him in his diapers, right? I changed his diapers for him. Like, I know him, and so he's not actually all that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's
So that's what I'm saying, that you're only with honor in your hometown and in your own home.
without.
Because that's what I'm trying to. That wording's kind of getting me. A prophet is not without honor, except it in his own town and in his own home.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have honor, or he has honor, except in his own town. So he's being hated on in his own house.
Yeah, and you can see it there clearly for Jesus when he's over here discussing all these parables and stuff, and then the people started questioning, well, isn't he just the son of a carpenter? Yeah. Isn't he just the son of Mary? Isn't it his brothers, Joseph, Simon?
What about on the other side, where someone from the hometown, right, was way better than you, very popular, D1 athlete, scholarships, whatever, and they end up staying in the hometown and becoming whatever, just except coming to the 9 to 5 and not going to their full potential. Whereas the guy who had nothing goes out there and makes a name for himself. How does that relationship work? Do you think that the person who had it all and had it stripped away from them makes it even more of a reason to hate and be jealous, or you think like, hey, no, that could have been me too?
I think it's dependent on who they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but I think it depends on how you look at it, right? You can see it as a point of envy, like who the heck I used to bully this kid, like
Mm.
this dude, like he used to worship me in high school, right? He used to worship me whenever we were kids, but now all of a sudden now I'm looking up to him, and whenever you look up to someone, like you could take offense to that, right? Like don't look up, don't like I don't want to look up to you, like come down to my level, you
Yeah.
know, and so
And they'll try to bring you down, of course.
yeah, and they'll try to bring you down to their level, and so I think it's just a matter. But then there's also people who have genuine hearts who are like, man, I love seeing what you're doing. Like you're doing great. Like put Plainview on the map. Like
Mm-hmm.
keep going out there, and because that's real love. Like that's someone who doesn't have envy in their heart, and those are the type of people that whenever you come back, you're happy to see, you're happy to go around, and you're happy to share your blessings with. And but at the same time, then there's those other people. And what did Jesus do? He said he did not do many miracles because of their unbelief. It doesn't say he didn't do any miracles. It says he just did not do many. And so I think I interpret that as, well, there are people that were in that from you. I follow your teachings, like you're so wise, and I see who you are. I believe in you. And so I believe that I can be great because you're great.
Yeah, there's two kinds of people. There's those kind of people that either envy you, that are literally they don't want what you have, but it's more like they just simply don't want you to have it, right? Or on the opposite hand, how Derek was explaining, there's those kind of people that take inspiration from you, and it's like pick your poison,
It's crazy because in my experience, I definitely feel like I have more of the envious people.
And I think
Just
the
from
more
that story you told us last
I
week.
think
Dude,
the more
it's
you
just been a
grow,
lot.
the
It's
more
like,
you
whoa.
rise.
I thought we were. And we post it, share it, whatever. It's always the people like Jake Paul said that I don't talk to, that I don't really know, that are liking, asking me about it. Like one of my friends, they're like, I think Tuesday or Wednesday like that. I saw him and he was like, "Hey, bro," he was like, when's the next podcast again?" Like he know we promote it, but just the fact that like he kind of knows we do it weekly. He didn't know specifically. He's like, "Oh yeah, y'all do it Friday evening, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do it about 9." So all right, bet I'll tune in. Like I look forward to it now. And that's because I barely met the guy like last year, and no one just really. I was like,
Exactly.
wow.
It's like, oh man, there's friends that I've had, and I'm like, I haven't talked to them in a while, and I'm sure they don't watch, they don't care. But then there's people that I don't know or that I hardly know, and they're the ones that are like, man, I really like your podcast. It's great, man. Like keep going.
And I think you hit it right on the dot for those people that kind of do envy or show hate. You hit it right on the dot when you said we're like a mirror. We expose their inadequacies. We reveal those, and that's where that envy comes and that bitterness comes, where they're like, well, what makes them better than me,
And it's like, bro, it's literally the complete opposite. It's like, bro, I want everyone to win. I want all my people to win. Like I want everyone to be able to get a relationship with Christ and to grow. And I think we need more of that. Like we need more of those people that are out there with that proclaiming the word of Christ and getting away from the system that's been keeping us down.
Yeah, and I think we've touched base on this a lot before, where nothing makes us special, like you cut us, we bleed just like you guys, it's just being able to have that courage to take action and take that quote unquote risk. And I mean, you'd be surprised how much growth you can get.
Exactly. Once you take that quote unquote risk, it's like you always say to you, whenever it's scary, is you jump and then you jump and then you realize it's not that deep. It's
Break
just,
your ankles because it's not that deep.
yeah, it's not that deep, and you would think that, like, it's weird because at the same time I feel like we really haven't accomplished anything just yet.
Yep.
We really haven't accomplished anything yet, and so, but I would say on my end, I believe that I've received a lot of love, more love than hate. I do notice. I do notice though that the people that are the biggest supporters, outside of like, close immediate family, like
Mm-hmm.
the biggest supporters have been just people that are strangers.
They just met out
That I,
here
that I,
in the
people
world.
no people that I don't know, like people that are just. We have 100 and what did you say 9?
Mm-hmm.
109 subscribers. I don't know 109 people. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know 2.
I know too. Like, let's say we get 40 to 100 views or something like that on a podcast. I don't know that many people,
That's kind
and
of
I
a
know
lot.
and I know for a fact that many people that I know are watching it. I know maybe I know a handful of people that watch that personally, like that watch maybe like 5. So like
And that's 5 views, not 40,
yeah, that's
50.
so saying like there's people that are tuning into every single episode
And we don't
that
know them.
we don't even know them, and they're supporting us more than friends that I've had since we were kids.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Yeah, and we've been able to get like our biggest supporters, especially when it came to streaming, and we have
Yeah.
we no idea who they are.
From all over,
Yeah.
from all
And
over
we're
the
just like,
state.
They were messing with us heavy, and then
Yeah.
life got life in.
Life got life, but I think once we go back to streaming, I think that'll be a fun experience again to do it.
As long as we
the
do it
right
the
way.
right way, yeah,
it the
and do
right
it
way.
where we're enjoying it and happy, and not like, dang, it's another chore again. I'm gonna get hit on by a bunch of tortas, and if they're just gonna make fun of me and make fun of us and call us gay, and I'm like, I don't want to do all that,
Yeah, nah, I saw. Yeah, I think it is a weird thing, but it's funny because I think if you didn't, I think if we weren't really doing this, I wouldn't understand what Jake Paul meant by that. But it's like, it's funny because I'm like, wow, I can relate to that. I can relate to random strangers being the biggest supporters, and that's the biggest, most true thing that I could say we've been able to experience on this journey of content creation. Is it's the people that we don't know.
And you would have told me a long time ago that I would have pursued any type of the smallest type of social media. I would have laughed because this was not, and this was not me. This was not like what I ever envisioned. I was like, oh, I know what I want to do, but this is just another asset to my kingdom I'm building, and I love it.
And I think it's just another representation of God's calling, right?
Yeah,
Because I know it's not the easiest thing for you to do, but
I've grown a lot with it
Yeah, I'm
because
saying you've grown a lot with it, and I think the more we continue to grow individually and together, the more that you'll be able to use that as like, man, this wasn't even a thing that I was planning to do. It just kind of happened.
yeah, because as soon as obviously I'm not I'm still open to the idea. Once the ball gets rolling and this and that, why not just do my own little videos on the side? And even if they don't get as much views, I mean, I already kind of have some. We built some type of fan base where people will come and hey,
yeah,
at least not for 0 people. It might
Yeah.
be for 7, but
who cares?
who cares?
Who cares? And but I think that's another part of like the testimony of like, you know what, this is God. There's no way because I didn't want to do it. This is nowhere near my future, and all of a sudden, here we have Confessions, number one podcast in the world, and subscribe. But like now, it's like that right there is in and of itself a testimony of how God works.
It's great. Now it's a big part of my life, and
Yeah.
see it as like it's something I enjoy doing, and it's just part of the business now. And one thing too that I kind of wanted to mention real fast is I used to be the person that I was a hater. I was the envious person. I was like, man, like a little background story, right? Growing up in high school, I always had to work hard, right? And it would always make me mad when people would call me a teacher's pet or, that I'm like kissing up to the coach or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I have to work hard for this. Like, I don't get all this money. I wasn't born with super freak genes. I wasn't, I have to work hard. Like, my family doesn't have a lot of money. Like, whatever despite all that situation, right? Then you had these people who are already athletes, got the best of the best equipment, got one-on-one training, one-on-one tuning, all the boosters were giving them all the money, and he had people like me having to work hard and struggle and get it from the mud, and these people getting everything handed to them. And then I kind of look back at it. I had this realization like a few years ago. I'm like, hey, I'm doing so good, so well without all these handouts that people gave to people who were expected to be something, and those same people that were expected to be something are stuck in the hometown. Not necessarily calling them bums or a failure because that's, they still got a long life ahead of them. They can always work it out too. But it's just like gets me thinking, man, if only I had those resources, if only they helped me, if only I had these things that were given to them. Imagine where I would be compared to where they're at. Like, in a way, I kind of saw wasted resources on someone who didn't want it as bad as I did, and that's just kind of unfortunate. Like, I don't know if that's a what kind of issue is that? Is that like a government issue, just a me issue, a school issue, like popularity issue?
I don't know. I think there's always a distinction between the poor and the rich, and I think it's also like, well, who do you know? But I think at the same time, I hear what you're saying, but I think if you had those resources handed to you, you wouldn't have gone through and learned the the what am I saying?
Lessons.
Learn the lessons, but also learn to appreciate the hard work ethic. Like you wouldn't have built that that has now carried you on to who you are now. Like you sure you had to struggle more, but those struggles we've acknowledged that our struggles is what builds us the most. I think if you were to have been one of those individuals that was handed things, you wouldn't have learned how to learn the lessons of what it means to be a hard worker and what it means to just continue to grind despite things not going your way, despite having to still go home and be like, man, I don't got the nice equipment, I don't got the nice things. Like these people are still getting put ahead of me. I think it's I think it's also those lessons you had to learn. You wouldn't have had the opportunity to had those things been handed to you.
Yeah, that's a good way of. I mean, I've gotten better at it, but I just want to admit that I was that type of person. Like, to example would be like, I mean, I was a average student in high school, right? And one of my biggest pet peeves was people telling me, "Oh, you're a tryhard. Oh, you're a teacher's pet. All you do is this, this, and this." It was like, dude, I enjoy it. Like, it's just something I want to do, and even then, I'm working hard, and people are still getting put ahead of me, getting scholarships, getting the dual credit, like all that stuff, and I didn't have the opportunity to do that, right? Or even with sports, staying after practice, doing practice after practice, always, making sure my grades were good so I could play, always trying to get a starting spot. Then you had the starting athletes who got D1 scholarships, who never put in the extra practice, who would smoke and drink, and the coaches were aware of it, who would half butt it in practice and still start. And during those moments, that right there was like probably the start of all my like, oh dang, like it's just me. Like I just gotta get it. But it's just like, man, this world really is unfair. And if it was like that in high school, it's only gonna get worse. So I'm really glad we're on the journey we're on, because if it wasn't for this, man, it'd be harder, harder. That's for sure. But that was one thing that's been kind of like, man, you look back at it as like I went through all that from the ground. People took escalators and stairs and shortcuts, and now I'm passing them. But this is a realization that I had.
I think for me, it's just my dreams coming to reality, and I know how you kind of touch base where you never really had that plan to be in a social media creator, but for some reason, me as a kid, I was that dumb delusional kid that for some reason I wanted to. Like I remember being with my cousins, recording little videos and trying to post them on YouTube. I remember specifically we put weird kid crashes into something like that, and I was a test dummy, of course. But my dumbass didn't know how to spell weird. I spelled wired kid, so it was pretty funny. But
You were on drugs, bro.
I remember the instant where the opportunity just popped up. I remember Derek coming, like we were just reconnecting, and we set up a dinner and had pizza, and I remember Derek just bringing that up, and it was just a crazy opportunity. I was like, why not take it? Why not? And now look at us. We've grown so much. Have we hit our goals yet? Have we hit our dreams yet? Have we grown to where this is a full-time thing? No, not yet. But it's happening slowly but surely. And another example that I can think of where I was a kid, I was like, man, I low-key kind of want to be a mechanic. I don't know. I just want to do something with cars. And next thing you know, I have this business that has everything to do with cars,
Yeah, that's cool.
which is just crazy because, like I said, it's my dreams coming to a reality, and something that how I mentioned earlier, it felt like growing up, I was never really wanting to be with God or be close to God, but for some reason, He's always been with me along my journey. For some reason, He's just been by me, and I'm just truly blessed to be able to experience this beautiful life. Isn't necessarily exactly how I planned it, exactly how I wanted it, point for point. No, but for some reason it's still been able turn out the way I prayed for, the way I asked for. And I kind of mentioned this throughout the week on my Snapchat story. You're living the prayer that you asked for. You know, you're in the middle of the
Yeah,
prayer,
I remember seeing that.
and we how we've mentioned this time after time, but we never realize it. We never realize it until you take a moment to pause, you take a look around, and you just appreciate the present.
Yeah.
You appreciate the present, and you realize this is exactly what I prayed for. This is exactly what I asked for, and that just helps me grow my faith even more. That's why I'm such a strong believer now. I'm like, God has been there every single step of the way, even though I didn't realize it, even though I never, especially at the beginning, acknowledged him, but he's been there for me even when I had the door closed on him. And he's continued to guide me. He's continued to protect me. He's continued to lead me to where I'm exactly at today. And I just continue to do the same thing, continue to pray, continue to ask, and he continues to provide for me. And I wouldn't change one single thing. One single thing. All the hardships, all the heartbreaks, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm so thankful for, and I'm glad to see my brothers here. They're growing in their journey. They're growing in their faith, and who would have thought? And now I'm able to share this journey with them and grow together with them along my journey, and that just pushes me even more, and just thankful, thankful.
Yeah, so that's what the proverb said. The brothers,
Yeah, that
the
right
brothers
there.
are there to love you always. and
Honestly,
we're here for adversity.
I had no idea what I wanted to do growing up. All I know was that I wanted to be what people were telling me to be. Like, be this, be that, do this, do this. Okay, okay, okay. But it wasn't until recently, in my big old age of 20s, where I'm like, hey, I want to follow God and get baptized, and I want to pursue this career in this direction. It wasn't like, man, I'm having that realization at 20. I'm like, you're supposed to know what you want to do, quote, when you're a kid, but I had no idea. And I never thought that I'd be, doing the podcast, getting a relationship with God, going back to school when everything felt like it was in the world. And that's just part of the testimony.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like I always knew in the back of my mind that I was called to speak and proclaim God's word. I always knew it in the back of my mind, but when I say I ran from it, I ran, and that's why I say like I understand Jonah, like that one hits different because I knew that was me going exactly the opposite direction and not being able to accomplish really anything of significance, still running into those walls, struggling. And it wasn't until I started to fully embrace what God's calling has been on my life since I was a kid that now it's like, okay, now I've been going the path of resistance, like, you know what I'm saying, the most resistance, but now I'm going in the direction that God's always been leading me down. And so it's like, yeah, now things are starting to fall into place, and things are like, man, it's like the it's like how Raul was telling earlier about me always losing my wallet. It's like, bro, it's right here. It's been here the whole time. That's kind of what's been happening now. It's like this was always the answer. This was always the path I was meant to go down, and now I'm finally going down instead of trying to create my own path, going the opposite direction. And so, yeah, that's how I feel about where we're going, and I'm excited to continue, and I'm excited for everything that is coming, and yeah, it's I'm excited, and I hope y'all are excited for every single one of y'all that are still watching. Thank y'all for listening to another episode of the Confessions Podcast. No more podcast in the world. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tune in next week, next Friday, for the next edition, and I think that it'll be like the day before Valentine's Day. Funny enough, so I don't think we're gonna do anything special for Valentine's Day, but maybe we can wear pink or something. But yeah, I mean, you're wearing your pink hat.
Yeah, I
a
did
week
it. I
ahead of
did it a
time.
week early. My
A
bad.
week early.
I thought it was this Friday or this
Yeah.
Saturday.
But that's all I got. Y'all got anything else before we close?
God bless. Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless.
It's just it's okay if it feels like you're in the way of what I was doing, right? And he didn't have to trick me. I felt like Jesus didn't even have to trick me. He didn't have to make me fall in the water. He just kind of came up with the whale.
If you can resonate with that, if that sounds like you,